I have put myself on mute.
We can hear you.
Microphone's working good next to it.
I'll keep myself on mute.
Oh, I sit right next to you.
No,
He's not.
no. It's been there.
Okay. It is 6:30. We will start the special meeting, the Finance Committee. We do have a quorum. Ms. Bedell is remote. She'll be participating that way. Look for acceptance of the minutes of the January 27, 2025 special meeting. So moved. Moved by Mr. O'Brien.
Second.
Second by Ms. Carol Fabian. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. We have no transfers, so I will, at this point, turn it over to Ms. Mangini.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We'll start off with your financials, and you were provided the monthly financial report for January, and the most significant issue still remains to be the deficit in the special education budget, and it's now at this point slightly more than $2.8 million. And that's basically through services, out-of-district transportation, and tuition accounts. But once again, though we expect some savings to offset this deficit from salaries and benefits, as well as the transportation, supplies, and fuel account, we are still projecting an overall budget deficit of approximately $1 million. I want to just cushion that by saying that we are estimating that based on positions that are currently vacant, they could be filled at any point between now and the end of the fiscal year, so that could be adjusted. In addition, it's also based on spending out all our discretionary accounts, and that may not happen as well. So we are going to carefully monitor other areas of the budget as well as SPED, because as most of you know, the SPED budget area is fluid and it changes on almost a daily basis. So while we've taken definite steps to mitigate that, I just want the board to be aware that it could potentially be about $1 million deficit. And I'll just keep updating you. I've done this analysis now for 3 months straight, and for 3 months it comes up to $1 million. So I think it's a pretty safe bet, but again, there's a lot of variables that go into that projection. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Okay. So you have, I guess you grant report?
Yeah, I'll go on. Okay. You've been provided with a grant report for January as well, and it continues to track on budget. In addition, as a follow-up to a request from last month's meeting, you've also been provided with the 21st Century Grant budget as we submitted into the state EGMS system for the middle schools. If you recall, we were only approved through the middle schools. The total grant amount is $245,640, and we did point out through my memo to you when you received your packet with this information that as a result of the delayed award notification and subsequent timeline for this fiscal year, because we just got notification of this grant less than a month ago, or about a month ago, the district was given the opportunity to revise its spending plan for this year as well as next year. So we did provide that spending plan in the packet for your information as well. And I will do my best to answer any questions you might have on any of those areas as well.
Any questions? So, Ms. Bedell?
This is a 2-year grant?
It's actually 2 or 3.
3-year grant.
3-year? Yes.
Okay.
And then so that the revised spending will be Did we, because the grant, I guess you said was delayed, was there a lapse in services the grant provided while we waited for it?
We really couldn't get the program up and running until we were approved for the grant, so it began within the last few weeks. I know you'll see in your personnel report that we've appointed a lot of stipend positions for this.
But technically, this grant should have run all year, right? So that's why they're allowing you to make those adjustments for this year, because you should have started, had the grant been given to us in a timely fashion, we would have started at the beginning of the year.
Would it allow us to, since we're starting late, extend it into the second or third year?
We were allowed to adjust this year's spending plan as well as next year's. So the money does carry over for the full 3 years.
Is it 3 years though, starting at the beginning of 2024, 2027, or the date it starts?
The date does not change because they were late in providing the money, so it will end in June 30th of 2027. I think about what year we are in.
Thank you. Any other questions? So we have in front of us ECS and SCI. We have the Alliance grant. Have there been any changes or any updates on the state funding? Either of those?
The state funding for this year, there has been no change with the Alliance grant, and we have not heard anything further about education cost sharing other than the fact that it's they did make some adjustments to those original estimates that came out for next year, but Stratford is not receiving any additional funding.
And when you say there's no change, you mean they're flat funding it?
Correct.
There is a change in your excess cost, potentially. So it looks like the advocacy has worked for the excess cost, where Stratford would get a small additional amount in that area, but in the other two areas, there's still flat funding currently. And the small additional amount is estimated to be about $600,000 in additional excess cost.
And that's only getting us closer to the promised amount, not?
It's not really getting you closer. They would need a $110 million increase across the state for people to get to the 80%. So the 40 million is not getting people to the 80%.
How much
It's a
would we
step in
need?
the right direction.
Yeah, how much would we need, how much additional money would we need to get us to that 80%?
I don't have the math in my head right now, but
I think I have it.
Am I have it.
We would, in order to have been fully funded, it would have been 4.7 million that we would have received. And I think at this point, they're up to 3.9 or around there, I think is what we've been told. So it's still a significant difference.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to food services.
Okay, you also have in front of you the December school lunch program report, and it does continue to reflect our very sound financial position, and the breakfast and lunch participation numbers are remaining relatively consistent as well, so that's really good news for us. In addition, as a follow-up to a request from the last meeting, I did provide you with a list of items repaired and purchased through the food service account, along with the Connecticut State Department of Education Guide to Financial Management Requirements of the school program, nutrition program. I also provided you with the capital expenditure guidelines relating to school food authority equipment purchases. And if you've had the chance to peruse any of this, I know it's a little bit overwhelming, it's quite comprehensive, but the one thing I will stress is that any purchases or any expense that we do cost out to the school lunch program fund has to be approved by the state. So we are monitored very closely in that area.
Any questions about the lunch?
Just Ms. Mangini, for clarification, did we receive the thumbs up to be able
enrollment, but it doesn't seem to be problematic. We've put in our request.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to special report.
And I really don't have anything additional to add. Ms. Mangini already spoke to you about where we're at. You're going to continue to see the roller coaster go up and down each month. We're going to closely monitor, and we will hopefully have a solid number of what we need to ask for support from the town.
Any questions? All right, enrollment report.
We have your enrollment report for February 1st, and I'll just point out that there was an increase of in-district students by 50 since October 1st numbers, and the overall total enrollment has now increased by 19 from last month's report. In addition, as was requested, I also provided the projected enrollment report for 25-26 school year. So as you know, based on the board-approved redistricting scenario, there are going to be a number of adjustments to our school enrollments for next year. But I need to stress that these numbers are extremely fluid, and I am certain they will change rather significantly between now and the start of the new school year. But at least you have some numbers in front of you that are reflective of the information that we have at the current time. And we have actually been doing this analysis since back in probably as soon as the board approved the final scenario. So we've done the last few months, we keep looking at particularly our elementary class sizes, so we can get a feel for where teachers might be moving to, where we might need more, where we may need less, but we'll continue to do this. At this point, with kindergarten registrations that have begun, we'll probably do it every week. So we will continue to update you on it.
Any questions? Other business, old business, our next meeting will be March 24, 2025. Does anybody have anything else? Look for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Garfield.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryan. Ms. Dowd. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. We will be back at 7:15.